Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey everybody, old Captain here. You got a question or a video request, you need some kind of... We can't even call it guidance and wisdom. Well, it's guidance and wisdom, but it's me just kicking your ass into shape because you're sick and tired of complaining about your problems and you want your problems actually solved. That requires truth and an asshole to deliver that truth and not give a flying fuck about your feelings. And that's me. So go to assholeconsulting.com where we'll take care of you. Dear Captain, I'm a huge fan and admirer of your work. I have your book, Bachelor Pad Economics, and try to live by its principles. I want to run my plan for the next few years by you and see if there's anything I should be doing differently. I live in a European country and I'm a STEM graduate. Unfortunately, this is one of the STEM subjects least applicable to the real world, but still a STEM. I have $30,000 in student debt, which currently accrues an interest rate of 1.5%, and repayments are garnished directly from my salary. The debt is underwritten by the government, and repayments are set at a proportion of all earnings above a certain level. So basically, the government has just made you a slave, like partial servitude, partial slavery. That's just... I'm not picking on you. You did the right thing. It's just, it's amazing how the young people vote for more state power, and now the government essentially owns a percentage of your production, and they'll just take it. It's slightly different than taxation because it's like, no, you owe us this. Anyway, it's just kind of more 84 going on. I have $30,000 in cash savings, accruing interest at 3%. All right, so you're actually making money on that little deal there. I intend to save this for a house deposit rather than paying down the debt in excess of the minimum payments taken from my salary, especially as I am earning interest at a higher rate than my debt is accruing. Sounds sensible to you? Yes, absolutely. Beautiful stroke of financial guru genius right there. I currently work a government job as the pay and conditions on entry were much better than the market was offering at the time, and I didn't want to waste another 4 years of my life on the master's and PhD needed to satisfy the progressive credentialism encroaching upon STEM jobs. After having a fairly shit time at university, working much harder than other non-STEMs, I adopted a Machiavellian mindset upon graduation after seeing all the anthropology majors walk straight into cushy government jobs while I struggled to find something economically productive. So I thought, fuck it, and if you can't beat them, join them. The work is numerate and mildly interesting, but not very challenging. I take home $52,000, of which I could save $7,000 to $10,000 per year, as living costs in my area are ridiculously high. I am very, very likely to be promoted within 2 years to about $85,000. My plan was originally to ride out the recession in government and then switch into industry. It's what the Europeans call private sector. But now I'm not sure that industry can compete with that kind of salary. What do you think? I'm also thinking about transferring to another city next year with my job where living costs are cheaper to be able to save for a deposit, or even moving back with my parents for a year or two maximum and being able to almost buy a house outright. There are pros and cons to this, and I think that having demonstrated that I can support myself by living separately would help, but would appreciate your advice on this. It would suck to move back in, but the numbers point to this being easily the most financially savvy option and would only be temporary. The aim of getting my own place is both to avoid wasted money on rent and to take in lodgers from which to draw an income. Smart man. Finally, the government would pay for me to do a part-time master's in economics. Oh, fuck. I know this would have little use in the real world, but in government it would provide a small salary boost around $3,000 and a slightly better career prospects. However, I am more tempted by this because it is interesting and because it would hopefully provide a little bit of mental stimulation than what I get at work. I just can't decide on whether it's worth dealing with all the bullshit that comes with stepping foot on a campus ever again. As ever, appreciate your advice. Thanks, Patrick. Well, basically you got three questions. All right, one, beat them or join them. If you can't beat them, join them. Should you stay in the government? Abso-fucking-lutely. Look, what was it? Enjoy the Decline, I have a chapter called Plunder. And what you have to realize is, I'll say it again, you vote. That's all any Republican or conservative, libertarian or freedom lover can ever do. You vote. You vote for the party that lessens the state. But if the rest of your countrymen vote in socialism, well, you got to play by those rules. And if these are the rules, then any kind of this idea that the right-leaning people or the freedom-loving people, they're like, I'm independent, I'm never going to take a government check. They have shame in taking a government check, shame in taking a government job. No, these are the rules that were enforced upon you by your fellow countrymen. So if they're going to vote to make it worthwhile to basically either collect a government check, either through welfare or being a government employee, you fucking go and do it. Absolutely. The saving grace, though, is like, you at least know it. And that's where it's the state and public school teachers, they're not all leftist, Democrat, Labor Party type people. There are some conservative, libertarian, Republican, freedom-loving type people in there as well. And as long as they know that they have an easy government job, as long as they know, like, yeah, this is a fucking cushy job, you're fine as far as I'm concerned morally. So if you are paid more, 85 grand a year in 1 year or 2 years getting promoted, if you're paid 85 grand by the government and the industry is only going to pay you 40 grand, yeah, don't fucking hurt yourself because of morality. Go vote the right way, and then you've done your part. And then whatever the rules are that socialist, leftist, what do you call them? You call them chavs, right? The chavs or the chavs, the fucking immatures or the less than mature type people. If they vote in more government money and more state, and they overpay your bloated, unneeded, they create a job. I guarantee you your job probably really isn't needed at the government. Fuck it! Hey, take the money and fucking run! Same thing, perfect example, the analogy of affirmative action with black people. I have a fair amount of young black men that watch the channel and show, and they have the same moral problem or quandary. Like, well, geez, I'd be living off of the state. And, people are like giving me an unfair advantage just because of the color of my skin. Well, that's not only racist, but how do I know I'm the... Fuck that shit! Did you vote the right way? Did you vote the right way? Did you vote the Republicans? Okay, you voted against affirmative action, but they're still going to give it to you anyway. You take the fucking money and run. So that, I would definitely stick with the government. It seems like you're doing good in it too. And you're going to get 85 grand. Dude, stick with it. Don't tell anyone your politics, but just stick with it. You're doing good. The next question about living with your folks. Yeah, I would. And yeah, there's going to be problems that come with it, but if your parents are willing to offer it to you, I would take it simply because that's going to increase the chance, or it's going to lessen the chances that you're going to move back in with them someday, or you're going to need financial help from them someday. If you could save up the money to buy a house outright for cash, that is going to so improve your finances. So what, you live at home for 2 years, and that makes the remaining 68 years of your life easier than fuck? Hells to the yes. You go do that. Yeah, it's going to hurt your dating life a little bit. Yeah, your folks might get on your gears a little bit, but you're going to get on their gears a little bit, but you're going to be so much better off, and then you're going to actually improve your familial relationship because you can visit your folks. Like, I could barely visit my folks when I was, almost all the way up to 30. There was no, like, let's drive out to Wisconsin. It's like, look at gas prices. I can't just go over there. But, shit, if I could have lived at home, although it wasn't possible because of leadership, but if I could have bought a house cash outright, fuck, yes, every month. You don't have a mortgage payment? Shit, I'll fly out visit my folks every month. So, it will. When finances are no longer a problem, like, you don't have to worry about a mortgage, the rest of your life gets a lot easier. So yeah, I would do that, save up your money, and then buy a place and rent out to your buddies. And then finally, your master's degree in economics. It's career-wise, in general, the career-wise, an economics degree is worthless. It's pointless. Could you get into an investment bank? Maybe. I don't know. Do you like sucking cock, and is your last name Thaddeus? I don't really know. I mean, if you got connections, fine. But for the most part, it's worthless. There is, however, you are correct, a slight advantage it'll give you in government. You could, you have a degree in a master's in economics. Not bad. You'd be maybe looked at a directorship, maybe down when you're in your 40s or 50s or something like that. So it's definitely not going to hurt you. And on top of it, yes, economics is an amazing study. It is fun to study. It is fun. You will be mentally stimulated. And who knows, maybe you get your doctorate. Maybe you go teach. Maybe you become a professor. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. As long as you know you're getting it easy. You know that it's easy. You know that your job shouldn't even exist. As long as you understand, you vote the right way. Yeah, absolutely take full advantage of it. So have the government pay for your degree in economics. You don't have to like knock it out in 2 years. You know, take your time. Take a class here, take a class there. Get your way towards your master's. And then it's not going to hurt your resume. It absolutely is not. It's going to certainly help a little bit in the government. And then private sector, maybe. Not really. But definitely you're going to meet, you'll meet some pretty cool people. You'll talk, might meet a girl who's an economist as well. I mean, that's not, there are other ancillary benefits beyond the career and the mental stimulation that'll come with it. Shit, just to get out and talk to some similar-minded people. That's something definitely to consider. So, as for overall the plan, yes, I like them. All great. Just keep going, man. Just keep plugging away. Get rid of the guilt. Get rid of the shame living with your folks. I don't think you have to aggressively attack your masters. But abso-fucking-lutely, go down that road, and dude, by the time you're my age, you're set, you're done. You're on a beach down in Ibiza, nailing some Spanish fly. No, what do they call it? Spanish fly is a drug. You're nailing broads. That's what you're doing. You're nailing broads. Birds. That's what it is. Birds. Spanish birds. That's what you guys over in the UK say. So, anyway, best of luck, doodles.